If you learn to control your thoughts, you'll control your life. Now, I know this sounds a little bit like psycho mumbo-jumbo, and I promise it's not because I've seen The Secret too many times, okay? There's real science behind this, guys. Look, there's real psychology behind the argument that your thoughts control your life, right? You control your thoughts, you control your life. Here's why. Because your thoughts, what you dwell on consistently, will paint a picture of the world for you, and then whatever, that picture that you've painted in your mind of the world will drive your expectations, what you expect to get from people and circumstances and the world around you, right? That expectation will drive how you respond to circumstances and things around you, and it's those responses, those actions that create your life. Let me backtrack and I'll give you a real world example. Let's say that you spend a lot of time on the news watching stories about police brutality and the police being out of line and police corruption and law enforcement corruption and DEA wild parties in Cuba or whatever those guys were doing, right? In other words, if you spend an awful lot of time thinking about what organizations aren't acting and behaving the way that they should, right, in law enforcement, then you'll begin to have a picture in your mind that this world is comprised of crooked people wearing uniforms that are supposed to be cops serving the public, right? Now, if that's the picture you've painted for yourself in your mind, then your expectation is that police are going to be brutal, unjust, unfair, and corrupt. True? So that's your expectation. Now, what happens if you get pulled over for speeding tomorrow? Are you going to be respectful and polite to the officer? No, probably not. Not if your view of the world is that these are all crooked crooks, and your expectation is that they're going to be the same way with you. No, you're probably going to be disrespectful. You're probably going to be short. You're probably going to be non-compliant in every way that you can be. And what's the result going to be? You're probably not only going to get a ticket, but you might also get some other stuff you weren't counting on either. And then you'll walk away from that situation going, "See, I told you, cops are jerks," right? And the same can be true in your marriage. What if you had an expectation? What if you spent a lot of time dwelling on the idea or thinking on the ideas that your spouse wasn't good enough, that you undermarried, or that somehow you could have done better? Well, then guess what? You paint this picture that you're in a marriage that's beneath you, or that you're better than your partner. Well, that's going to drive an expectation that you're going to be unhappy, that you're going to be disappointed, that you're going to be dissatisfied. And so then when you do interact with your spouse or your partner, you're not going to be appreciative and loving. Well, guess what happens when you're not appreciative and loving with your spouse or your partner? They're not that way right back to you, and you've just validated what you've chosen to believe. Your thoughts really do control your world. They control your life. You construct the world around you by what you focus on. So I am going to highly, strongly recommend that you take this idea in and that you really dwell on it, really concentrate on it. You'll see that what I'm saying is true in a lot of areas of your life. A lot of things that you think on positively, you'll find that they're positive in your world. A lot of things you think on negatively, you'll find out that they're negative in your world. But if you will change your thoughts, you can change your whole life. I did this back in 2013 with my personal finances. I had this idea or this thought that I needed to work for somebody else for 50 years and retire with a pension and a gold watch, because that's what my dad did, that's what my brother did, that's what his dad did, and I thought that's just how the world works, When I began to change that and spend time thinking about how I could generate income working from home, working for myself, working in my spare time, doing other things that didn't involve reporting to a job for somebody else. It was amazing. I doubled my income in 2013. I put the link right below the video if you want to see the blueprint that I used. You can go there, you can check it out. Anybody could do it. That's the really incredible part. I wasn't special or even lucky. Anybody could do what I did. I just started focusing on different things, and you can do the same. So learn to control your thoughts, and you'll learn to control your life.